Anyone that knows Formula 1 knows Lewis Hamilton. He's a 7-time champion that divides opinion among fans, but no one can deny that he's one of the greatest drivers to ever grace the sport. Of his 310 starts, he's won 103 of them and stood on the podium 191 times. But the most important stat of them all is his 7 championships. Now, if he is to truly become statistically the greatest F1 driver of all time, he really needs to win one more title to get ahead of Michael Schumacher, who also stands on 7 championships. However, time isn't quite on Hamilton's side to clinch that 8th title. By the time the first race of 2023 comes around, he will be 38 years old. So if he doesn't want to race into his early 40s, then he'll need to get a bit of a move on. So given his very disappointing 2022 season, unable to even win a race for the first time in his F1 career, he'll be hoping to bounce back in 2023. And well, as it turns out, there's every reason to think he could put up a serious challenge. Based on the final few races for Mercedes in 2022, their development into 2023 shows signs of race-winning pedigree. They managed to get over their porpoising issues that was really affecting their performance by the midway point of the season, and from that moment on they had a very high development rate, resulting in their car arguably being the strongest in the field at a couple of races. So they'll be really hoping to carry on this form and build on it for 2023 to truly challenge for the title once again. Mercedes technical director Mike Elliott has said that the Mercedes W14 will experience a change in DNA from 2022, which would involve changing the rear suspension to truly get rid of that porpoising. There's also a possibility they will change their side pod design as well, with Elliott hinting the car will look different next year. All in all, we know what Mercedes are capable of, so it would be stupid to write them off next season. But while Mercedes need to get their act together for next year, their rival teams aren't in ideal positions themselves, which could play into Mercedes' favour. Firstly, following their budget cap breach, Red Bull will have 17% less wind tunnel testing time than Mercedes from October 2022 to October 2023, which should really hamper their competitiveness throughout the season. Then when it comes to Ferrari, with Mattia Binotto out, they'll need to use 2023 as a warming into season. So honestly, with these external problems for other teams really doing Mercedes a favour, plus their serious development at the end of the 2022 season, I do see Mercedes going for the title once again. However, this isn't 2020. Lewis Hamilton no longer has a teammate that is a true number 2 to Hamilton who will assist him in going for the title. Instead, he's got the quick and consistent George Russell alongside him, who in my eyes is a very different story. Russell showed in 2022 that he seriously has what it takes to be a world champion. He even beat Lewis on points last season. However, if Mercedes have a quick car, I don't think it's so simple for Russell. In my eyes, why Russell performed arguably better than Hamilton was because the car wasn't performing. And for Russell, he was used to an underperforming car, having been at Williams for 3 years. Hamilton, meanwhile, had been using a blisteringly quick car for many years, so he didn't quite know how to approach a slow car, and once he saw the Mercedes get better, Hamilton began to perform once again. So in terms of that inter-team battle for 2023, I do think it'll be close, but for me, I think Hamilton will have the upper hand. But let's say Mercedes isn't very competitive next season. Will Hamilton want to stick around in Formula 1 for much longer? Well, as it stands, Hamilton's contract runs out at the end of 2023, so he will need to sign a new contract if he wants to stick around. Well, funnily enough, he has shown a lot of interest in continuing until at least 2025. At the 2022 Mexican Grand Prix, he said he was planning to sign a multi-year deal with Mercedes, even though he said a couple years back that he had no intention of racing into his 40s. But there is clearly still a fire burning inside for him to continue and achieve more success. Just look at Fernando Alonso as an example. He's 41 and was arguably one of the best drivers of 2022, with many saying he's performing as well as he did in his championship winning years. So as long as Hamilton keeps himself in a good condition, which I'm sure he will, I could see him going on for a bit longer. But Hamilton may feel comfortable continuing for a few more years. But would Mercedes be willing to put their faith in him knowing he only has a few years left in him? Well, Toto Wolff sees it in a much more broad-minded way, saying Lewis is much more than just a driver for Mercedes. Firstly, he is an incredible ambassador for the team and wider Mercedes company, and he's also a great mentor for George Russell, who is undoubtedly the future of the team after Hamilton retires. And besides, it's pretty clear he could go a few more years performing at a high standard anyway. So all in all, with a contract renewal with Mercedes looking very likely, we'll have at least 2 more opportunities beyond 2023 to go for that 8th World Championship. So I wouldn't say 2023 is his only opportunity to go for it. If anything, 2024 could be a better opportunity, with Red Bull's wind tunnel testing restrictions massively affecting development for the 2024 Red Bull car. So I would expect to see Hamilton sticking around for quite a bit longer. And if Mercedes build a good car, then I have every reason to believe he could statistically become the greatest of all time. That's if his teammate doesn't beat him to the title first.